Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some entitled parent stories and our first story of the day is by Spamosa. Mom begs for money despite buying new house and car. A little backstory. My mom, who is on Social Security disability, top tier, almost $2,800 a month, has a very hard time budgeting. Last year she decided to sell my grandparents' house on South Oregon to move back to the Seattle area. She got the house by having my grandma with dementia change the will and cut out her two siblings, my uncle and aunt. And after my grandma passed, the house and all the savings and belongings went to my mom. So she sells the house, and instead of buying a reasonable home, she had limited mobility and a bad prescription drug addiction and falls often, she buys herself and her 3 cats a 4,000 square foot home in a gated community. There was literally no money left over from the sale/acquisition of the new home. I had to help by paying for a moving van and helpers. Before this, she had a settlement from a slip and fall lawsuit of roughly $50,000, which she instantly rolls into a brand new 2018 Toyota Highlander. She had been left my grandma's 2009 Aspen SUV, but the gas mileage was not good enough. Then she backs into a tree and busts a taillight on the new car a few months after buying it. Goes to dealership to fix taillight, decides she needs a brand new 2019 fully loaded Highlander with a tow package, which she has nothing to tow, so this is a mystery. She trades in her 2018 with 5,000 miles on it and takes out a $35,000 car loan. And this is on a fixed income and she always has money struggles. So here is like $80,000 of car at this point. Excellent. She is constantly begging my bro, sis, and I for money. We are 38, bro, 36, me, 27, sis, and all trying to establish ourselves in our lives, careers, and financial security. I am a stay-at-home mom with 2 young kids. We live off my husband's income as an apprentice tradesman and have to be very frugal. We qualify to live in low-income housing, and I find ways to be resourceful, like donating our time and vehicle to help a local food bank so we are able to get some food as well as help the community. We don't own a home or brand new fancy cars, and if you take away rent and do the math for just us 2 adults, we live on less than her monthly Social Security disability. Yet every month, she has a sad story about how she can't afford X or Y. She finally canceled her $175 a month TV plan. I have asked her more times than I can count to please not bring up money matters with me. I've offered to help her budget, but she refuses the help, only wants money. Well, she brought up money the other day when she came up to our apartment to visit the grandkids. But really, she came to pilfer the food bank transportation we do every Sunday before we drop it at the food bank, saying she didn't have enough money to pick up her prescriptions. This is just after she told me she gets her prescriptions in the mail. I believe she has drug-induced dementia from the 15 years on benzos and opiates. I told her I could spare $15 for gas money, but that was all. I explained we are a family of 4 living on 1 income and we have a tight budget. I remind her she has had plenty of opportunity to save or spend her money more wisely. So she takes the $15 and goes. I get a call the next day of her crying, saying that the way I brought up her poor money choices was terribly upsetting, pretty much making me out to be the villain and her the victim. This self-victimizing routine is her go-to. It's exhausting because I've done so much for her. I put my life on hold for 5 years after college to be her full-time caretaker. She fell and needed a hip replacement and got hooked on opiates. I couldn't hold down a job or any healthy relationships because I was constantly being called back home to get this or that for her, take her to her doctor appointments, etc. I could literally write a novel in all the ways I've helped her. I feel like this post is a novella. Anyways, screw her for trying to make me out to be the bad guy because I don't give her money to get extra prescriptions to fuel her addiction. Screw her for even putting it out there and begging my family for money when she has so much. And lastly, screw her for never respecting my boundaries, which I need to preserve my well-being. After her sob story phone call, I was upset, and it took me a few hours to get my head on straight. I wasn't a good mom to my kids at that time. So, to be a better mom to my kids, I'm putting old mom in timeout. I need a break from her entitled self. End rant. Thank you and good night. It can just get so messy with family, it's really hard to deal with. When it's your own parents and they always pull the, well, they did so much for you, I can't believe you're treating your parent this way, etc. It's very wearing a lot of times on people. And I definitely don't envy OP in this situation. If this was the kind of relationship you had with a parent of yours, would you make the difficult decision of cutting ties? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Jimmy Mac 471. Stop crying and grow up. So this is my third story on here, and it is about my form teacher when I was about 8 years old. In all the schools I've been to, there has been a form teacher who's the primary teacher for most of your classes. You see them every day and they said most of the schoolwork. The entitled mother in this situation was my form teacher. This woman was nice enough at first, but she had quite a temper, which could get the better of her. She had 3 kids at the school. None of them were particularly nice, to be honest, and she would often treat me like an idiot because I was slow in class and had trouble reading. Also important to note, I was bullied a lot in that school. The classes combined 2 year groups, and there was one kid in the year above who was a mean son of a witch. He rarely left me alone, and entitled mother did very little to help me when he was picking on me. I will call him Hunter for this story. So here's the story. We had finished our first couple of lessons for the day and it was morning break. I cannot remember why, but Hunter and his friends were waiting for me by the doors to the playground. They looked like they were gonna beat me up, so I ran. I made it around the bike sheds and an outdoor seating area, weaving in between other kids, while Hunter's group were right behind me. I looked back and saw that I was losing them, but being the idiot kid I was, I forgot to look where I was going. I collided with another kid who was running around and hit the tarmac ground hard. My knees were bleeding and I'd cut my lip. I moved to get up, but as I did, I felt a sharp pain in my left shoulder. I had no idea what it was, but it hurt so bad, I immediately burst into tears, as an 8-year-old would, and couldn't get myself off the ground. Hunter and his group stayed back. They were only about 8 and 9 themselves, and the sight of blood had them spooked. An older kid from a few years above me picked me up off the ground and helped me to get cleaned up. I had never met this guy before, but he took me to the bathrooms and helped me clean my knee and my lip, trying his best to keep me calm as I was sobbing uncontrollably. He had me cleaned as best as he could, and by that time, break was over. I have never forgotten the kindness that guy showed me. I just wish that most adults acted like that. He had his own classes too, so I walked to class alone, still crying but not as uncontrollably. My shoulder still hurt like heck and I had no idea what was wrong. We all sat down for class, and after about 5 minutes of entitled mother speaking to us, she turned angrily to me. "For God's sake, OP, what's the matter with you?" OP, while crying, "My shoulder hurts after I fell over in the playground." "Well, stop crying and grow up. Just get over it." And she continued talking. After about another 10 minutes, she got so fed up with me that she got another kid in the class to take me to the nurse. The nurse had a look at me and could tell that there was something wrong. She got a sling out to put it over my shoulder and to support my arm, and then she called my mom. Mom took me to the hospital and I got an x-ray. Guess what I was crying about? A snapped collarbone. It was now completely in 2 pieces. It was a clean break, but still, not a good sight for an 8-year-old. I was allowed the rest of the day off school and had to wear a proper sling for 3 weeks. The entitled mother called home and said she was terribly sorry for how she acted and felt guilty for what she'd said to me. I came back in the next day to find Hunter had been assigned to help me carry my bag while I was recovering. He apologized for his part of my injury, an apology that seemed a lot more sincere than entitled mother's, and he stuck by me for the week. As it turns out, entitled mother was getting us to do a project in kite building, which I was not allowed to take part in due to a broken collarbone. Worst part is, my shoulder had healed before they were done, but they were so far through the process of making them, I wasn't allowed to take part in it. I had to sit on the side for an hour, my shoulder fine, watching my classmates fly kites. I'm afraid there isn't a real happy ending to this. The entitled mother continued letting her temper get the better of her. She punished me for not being fast enough in a lesson and treated me like I was dumb. Turns out I was dyslexic the whole time. About a week after I was out of my sling, Hunter returned to his old ways and bullied me relentlessly. I luckily moved away from that school after 1 year there and have never heard from Hunter or Entitled Mother ever again. And frankly, good riddance. This entitled mother is obviously not the picturesque teacher that you would ideally like. That said, she did personally reach out and apologize for the things she said, which I think is a lot more than you'd get from a lot of teachers who act like that. That is, as long as it was completely on their own volition and it wasn't something that was suggested to them. If they genuinely apologized, even if it wasn't the most sincere thing, at least there's some semblance of them actually caring about what they said to you. Our next story is by Chris Prof 1991, The Curly Hair Incident. As the title suggested, it is about hair. I went through weight loss surgery a year and a half ago. One of the unexpected results was that my hair changed, quite radically. I used to have thin and straight hair, and now my hair is thick and curly. Both my mother and elder sister have thick and curly hair. So when my hair started to change, I was excited. Especially because my mother used to mock me for being the only one with straight thin hair. I had to cut it as soon as we were allowed to go to the hairdresser again. Because the straight hair weighed down the hair that grew thick, it did not really curl. But as soon as it was free, it just curled up. According to my mother, it was curlier than hers. I argued that her hair was shorter, above the ears short. Mine was under the ears short. It calmed her down. However, summer came and it grew hotter. I was not used to thick hair, so I decided to have it cut even shorter, above the ears short and longer on top. My mom had hers cut the same as mine, but my curls refused to get tamed. My mother seemed upset and said, "Your hair is curlier than mine, can't you straighten it?" "No, I can't." She just sighed and left the room. I can't straighten it out for different reasons. It does not stay straight, it's hard to straighten short hair, and, well, I don't want to. It's really quite shocking that this mother is so outwardly jealous about curly hair. I feel like this mother would have a lot more things to be worried about and to actually care about rather than their child's hair being curlier than theirs. What does that matter? Just because somebody's hair might be curlier doesn't make them any better than anybody else. It's really kind of odd. This next story is by Killermothx. Mom went berserk when I was playing at an internet/gaming cafe. A little bit of a backstory. I do not have a great PC, it lags a lot, that's why I go to a gaming cafe so I could use a better PC. 1 Philippine peso equals 5 minutes. 48 Philippine peso equals $1. It's amazingly cheap. Anyways, to the story. I was playing for about 2 hours or so and I got confronted by a child, around 10 to 12. I asked him, "Yes?" The child said, "Can I play video games, please?" I said, "Why are you asking me? I'm not the cafe owner." His mom unfortunately overheard this and said in an Asian accent, "You let my son play now or I call store manager." I said, "Ma'am, I paid for this. It's amazingly cheap. You could just pay for the service." She said, "I have no money right now, okay?" As I hear jingling in her pants. Probably not car keys as there weren't any cars nearby. I said, "Ma'am, please stop. I'm in the middle of something important." She said, "What are you doing that is so important?" I said, "I'm playing a ranked match. If I leave, I get deducted 34 RP. She then pressed the power button while the store manager was looking. The store manager, SM, was a female around her 60s and got so mad at the entitled mother, she slapped her on the face. At this point, I did not want anything involved and I did not know what to do, as if I just leave, it would seem like a tick move since the store manager stood up for me. They kept arguing. I didn't really listen and I just watched them. Some time later, the entitled mother finally shuts up and grabs her child's hand and went to the other gaming cafe across the road. I thanked the store manager and she said, "No, don't thank me. That mom was a witch anyways." This mom was definitely entitled, looking to just mooch off of people, I don't know. Maybe because it was so cheap they expected somebody would just succumb to her arguing and complaining or whatnot and just give her some money. I don't know what her goal was. And our final story of the day is by Meme Watcher 2323, entitled "Mom Said Stop Locking Your Car Doors." You can't make this crap up, man. If anyone has heard of the app Nextdoor, you can post stuff regarding your neighborhood. I saw in my email a new post and verbatim the title was, "Stop locking your cars after 8 p.m. What? I went on to read the post. Some of us have small children and would appreciate if you do not lock your car doors after 8 p.m. If that's not an option, go under your hood and disarm the beep noise. It's unwanted and unneeded. Oh boy. I clicked on the email to go read the comments and the post was deleted, assuming Entitled Mom got a lot of hate in the comments. Could you imagine telling people to not lock their car doors when they get home? Yes, sure, I'll let my stuff get stolen so I don't interrupt your precious child's sleep. Can you really hear it if it's not directly out your window anyway? Did you have to tell the whole city not to lock their doors? I personally like the beep so I know both sets of doors locked. But hey, I guess locking your car door is a luxury and not needed, especially at night when you're most prone to theft. Yep, I think it's pretty apparent why that story was taken down by the time they tried to read the comments. Sometimes it's hard to get the entire city ready to grab the pitchforks, but this one is definitely one of the reasons they would. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today, so if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which one and why in the comment section down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving the video a like and subscribe if you haven't and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you did, whether it was just watching the video or commenting, subscribing, whatever you do. Thank you all so very much for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. Any single thing you do helps the channel grow that much more and I appreciate the heck out of it. I hope you all have a wonderful day and until next time, I'll be right here on the Storytime channel.